So have you ever stopped to think about what it really means to acknowledge someone's pain, especially when it's all happening out in the open, in the public eye? Sometimes the biggest insights, those real moments of clarity, they don't come from long speeches, but from, like, really brief exchanges. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of moment. We're looking closely at a small piece from an audio file. It's called You Won't Believe Your Eyes. Katie Couric interviews siblings of James Foley, then this happens. MP3.
Right. And our task really is to unpack the very beginning of this interview, just the initial back and forth. We want to see what that tells us about how you handle these incredibly tough human situations in a public setting. How do you even start that conversation?
Yeah, how do you start? And the source gives us some context. It's Katie Couric talking with James Foley's brother Michael and his sister Katie. They're in Dover, New Hampshire. Okay, so the interview kicks off, and the very first thing Katie Couric does is offer her deepest sympathies to Michael and Katie and the whole family. That's the absolute first point of contact. It seems pretty standard, maybe, but is it?
Well, I think it's more than standard. Leading with empathy like that so directly, it does something specific. It's an immediate validation of their pain. It's not just, being polite. It sort of sets the stage, creates a kind of emotional safety net right away.
A safety net, okay.
Yeah, it kind of disarms them, maybe. Makes it possible to share more honestly than if she just, launched into reporter questions. It builds that human connection first.
And something that really jumps out from the source material is how much she emphasizes the difficulty of imagining their pain. She says, I think it's hard for all of us, Katie and Michael, to imagine the pain you've been going through. And then the source, it kind of highlights this repetition, right? Phrases like, to imagine the pain come up again. She's really focusing on that.
Exactly. And that repetition is significant, I think. It's not just filling air.
Yeah.
It feels like she's actively trying to mirror what the audience might be feeling, maybe what she's feeling too. That struggle to grasp something so huge, by saying it out loud repeatedly, she's acknowledging the gap, the gap between their experience and everyone else's understanding.
Right.
The repetition really underscores the sheer weight of it all. And maybe her own struggle to find the right words for the unimaginable, it draws you, the listener, into that difficulty too.
Okay, so she establishes that empathetic base, acknowledges the unimaginable nature of the pain, and then, only then, does she shift. Right after emphasizing the pain, she asks the core question, which the source also notes is repeated. So, how has your family been coping with this? That sequence seems important.
Very. It's a deliberate pairing, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
First, the deep dive into acknowledging the pain, really sitting with the difficulty of imagining it, and then the question about coping. It signals something about her approach, I think. It says, we see the depth of your sorrow, establishing that shared humanity first, and then gently it moves towards, okay, what happens next?
Yeah.
How do you live through this? It allows the family to talk about their experience, not just the initial shock.
And for the audience?
For the audience, it suggests, yes, this is a terrible tragedy, but we're also going to talk about resilience, about how people endure. It offers a path from just observing grief to maybe understanding a bit about agency within it.
So, thinking about this specific beginning, conducting a public interview about something so tragic, what are the immediate priorities this reveals? What's the, unspoken strategy here?
Well, the key takeaways just from these opening moments are, I think, pretty clear. First, that really strong, repeated emphasis on empathy, not just as a throwaway line, but as a way to really anchor the conversation emotionally. And second, that direct but still sensitive question about coping.
Right.
It comes only after the pain has been acknowledged. It's about validating their reality first and then opening the door to talk about resilience. It really sets a tone, doesn't it? Respectful, human, but still getting to the heart of the matter.
It certainly gives you something to think about. In these moments of, huge personal loss playing out publicly, what is the most important job of that public conversation? And how much does that very first question, that initial connection, really steer the whole story that unfolds? What does this brief exchange make you wonder about how we talk about tragedy? What else is there to explore?